Dr. Rita, Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show today. Okay, so I'm going to preface all of this with this has been a really weird 2 weeks for me, with everything kind of culminating into like this giant kind of shit show today. So I'm a little cranky. And, but usually when I do a show, I come out the other side and I'm all good and sparkly, but, you never know. And so today, my topic is kind of, I don't know, it's a little on the bitchy side, a little on the complaining side, but you know what? I don't care because I'm kind of cranky and a little bitchy and it's all good. And my topic tonight is about compliance. And so there's compliance to other people, and I'm using it kind of in a health related term. And then there's compliance to yourself. And it'll all come together. It'll all come together. So me personally, not very compliant. I don't go to the doctor very often. And then when I go, they're like, oh, well, we need to do this. And I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, that ain't happening. Here's a prescription for steroids. It's like, nah, I'm not ever going to take them. Last year, I changed doctors and they did a physical and they're checking my thyroid. And she goes, it seems a little bit enlarged, which I agree with. It was a little bit enlarged. And so she suggested that I go for an ultrasound. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. Non-invasive, I can do that. And so I needed to go back to get a referral to the chiropractor. So I had to go into the office, but she wasn't there. And the other, like the nurse practitioner, took the appointment. And so she has the results and she's like, well, your thyroid's enlarged and and we need for you to go get a biopsy. Whoa! No, that ain't happening. And she's looking at me and she has, here, wait a minute. I'll give you the visual. But it says on the paper, you need to go biopsy paper. And I was like, ain't happening. I said, so here's how it's going to play out. I'm going to go home and I'm going to go do some research and I'm going to take iodine because I'm not a salt eater. And when I do eat salt, it's usually like pink Himalaya salt that doesn't have any iodine in it. And I already have my annual appointment scheduled, which is in about 6 months. And we can revisit it at that point in time. Oh my God. She was so not happy, wanted to go get the doctor. And I'm like, babe, it ain't happening. You aren't going to biopsy me. Not today. So when I go in for my follow-up, my annual appointment, my regular doctor person's there and she's feeling my thyroid and she goes, well, it's still enlarged. She goes, so let's go get another ultrasound. And she goes, and she just looked at me, and I like her because you can talk to her and she will work with you. And I said, I already know, if it's bad or if it's worse than it was, then I'll get the biopsy. But if it's better, then I'm not doing jack and I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing because it's better. So I get the ultrasound and her comment was, well, we just need to monitor it because it had gone down significantly because I did my homework and I figured out what I needed to do to take care of myself. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, about compliance and listening to yourself compliance. But then there are other people. So my sister, she's probably not ever listening to this show, but watch today will be my one day. So she had hurt her back, and she's had 2 back surgeries and this and that. And she said, yeah, I had the back surgery and they wanted me to go to physical therapy, but I didn't do it. And I had another surgery and they wanted me to go to physical therapy, but I didn't do it. And I was going to a chiropractor, but he kept hurting me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, why don't you go find a different chiropractor? It's not like they're the only one and the only technique, and some are very gentle and other ones use brute force, but she didn't do that. And basically they sent her home with, painkillers and muscle relaxers to fix her back. Well, that isn't fixing her back. That isn't doing anything. Pain meds don't do anything. But again, going to the chiropractor, maybe getting some traction, doing some yoga, soaking in a tub with Epsom salt. Those are things that you can do, getting a massage, doing anything other than just complaining about it. How's that? Because the medical model, the medical model only sits there and gives you information about what's in their box. And if it's outside their box, they're not going to recommend it. Have another friend had back surgery, has like that metal stuff in his back that we talked about on a different show. Probably alien implants. And so the doctor told him not to go to a chiropractor. Well, I don't know that I would listen to the doctor, and maybe I would go find a gentle touch chiropractor, one that does best technique, one that does a lot of work with like lightweight traction, something, and talk to them and get their opinion, because the doctor's not a chiropractor and they're always poo-pooing things that you can do for yourself that get you off the freaking meds. But then there's that other piece of compliance. I had a client years ago who came in for an appointment. This is when I still saw people in my office, and she had like colitis, or she had like this kind of pretty big ulceration in her large intestine. How's that? And so I made a recommendation for a few different supplements for her to help calm down the inflammation, heal the wound. I mean, because it was kind of, even in my psychic eye, it was pretty nasty. And said, okay, I don't want to see you again for a month. I want you to get, and it was only like 2 things. I don't load people up. It was 2 things. So I said, so I don't want to see you for a month because that'll give you like a week to get the supplements. I mean, they were available on Amazon. And 3 weeks for the supplements to start working, and we can reevaluate if we need to like add some more supplements or whatever, whatever the plan was. But that was the beginning of the plan. So she came in for her energy work session, and I'm working on her, and I get down to her gut, and I'm like, it's seeming worse than it was when you were here the last time. Did you get those supplements? No. And I don't know, when I think of compliance, I always think of her. And I just looked at her and I said, you pay me kind of a lot of money to help you, but you're not willing to help yourself. Obviously, she never came back because she never took the supplements. And, I kind of got on her case. Not too bad, but I kind of got on her case, and, I don't blame her. But this also goes for the people that fall into the complaining category or fall into that worry category. And I tell this story quite often. I have one of my clients, love her to death, just love her to death, but she's a worrier. And she had breast cancer, and they put her on this medication, and the medication cancels out estrogen in the body. And one of the side effects is that it draws calcium from the bones. And so there's a risk of osteoporosis. And so it's recommended, highly recommended, that you take calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D to maintain your bone density levels. Well, she would worry and worry and worry and worry about her bone density and osteoporosis and oh my God, but she wouldn't take the freaking pills. She wouldn't take the pills, or she would take them haphazard. And finally, I just said to her, I'm like, it's recommended that you take those pills 3 times a day or more 2 times a day, but you're supposed to take X number of pills every day. And if you took the pills that you're supposed to take every day, then you wouldn't have to worry about your bone density, because I feel like the amount of supplementation you're getting is going to balance that out, and you might actually get some bone growth. She started taking the pills. And you know what? We have not talked about her bone density ever again. I have another friend has a health issue going on. I made some, and they complain about it. That's the thing. They complain about it. It's like, oh, it doesn't work and it doesn't feel good. So you make some recommendations. Well, this might help alleviate the symptoms that you're experiencing. But they won't do it, or people have like gallbladder issues and I got a better one. So I had gone home to visit my family, and my dad was complaining that his big toe hurt, and he had this long-standing history of gout, which is where uric acid crystals form in the body, and usually the first place they form is in the big toe, which I apparently got that thing from him. And so there's 2 things that you usually do. One is you drink water, which, if you can get 8 ounces of water into the man throughout the course of a day, that was a good day. And then from a supplement perspective, especially if you're not going to do the water, is cherry juice. And that helps break up the uric acid crystals. So I go to the health food store and get him the cherry juice. And in the meantime, he ends up going to the doctor and getting some pills. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. I got some pills. And it's kind of like, well, then why complain about it? This is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be drinking this water so that you don't have this. But you end up complaining about it because you won't be compliant with what you need to be doing. I don't understand it. I don't. So my commentary is, so I'm a little browbeating all of you out there, is do something about it. Investigate it. There is so much information online, about alternative therapies for what might be bothering you. Now, if you're one of the worrier people, because I have some of my clients that they have a hangnail and they go online and look up like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen because you have a hangnail? And it's like, oh, well, you could get like an infection in that tissue, and then it can turn into like blood poisoning and you'll die. And I get these phone calls. It's like, well, I have a hangnail. Am I going to die? If you're one of those people, stay away from the internet. But if you're not one of those people and you want to like take control of your life and don't want to take those freaking prescription medications that only have side effects, then take charge of your health, take charge of your body, be your own healthcare advocate and take your power back. Worst case scenario is that you try, and if you're not sure about the trying part, I'm going to add one other piece. So I've had a number of people who will get some kind of supplement, because they hear that like St. John's wort is good for anxiety. And they take it for 2 days and they're like, well, it didn't work. And supplementation, cleansing, all of that stuff doesn't work that way. It takes time for the body to shift, and it takes time for the body to move and change and heal. When you take a prescription medicine, all you're doing is putting a Band-Aid over the festering sore. You're not fixing anything. But when you work with supplements and healing and cleansing, it's actually helping the body to restore itself. And that takes time. And so, like my one friend who's been complaining a lot lately about something, it's going to be my commentary this weekend. It's like, well, you complain about this and I've recommended these supplements to you, so why don't you try them for 3 months? And that's really what I ask people, if it's a long-term chronic thing that's going on, that you do it for 3 months. I mean, if you have a cold and you're sick, yeah, you can take like oregano oil and vitamin C and zinc and vitamin D, for a week or 3 days. But if it's something that is long-term and chronic, I think giving a supplement a chance for 3 months to see if you're going to have any benefit from it is worthwhile. That's my opinion. So I'm sorry that I'm just like kind of like today, but I've been in that kind of a mood all day today. So I'm just like passing it on. And that was kind of like a cranky-ish topic, but I think it's a good topic. And I think it was a good one to share and talk about. All right. So there's like 11 comments already lined up. So let me do my little spiel and then I will say hi and go answer questions. Okay, so today's show is brought to you by soulhealer.com. That's me, unlike what the publishers seem to think. And you can go there and drop me a line to set up a time for a private consultation, medical intuition evaluation, intuitive counseling, or energy medicine. I do a lot of work with a lot of different things. And so if that's something you might be interested, I do recommend that you go and check it out because I just might be the gal that can help you. Okay, so I have been talking about this and I'm going to repeat. So this show used to air on my personal page, and I think it's still airing on my personal page, but I'm not streaming it to that page. And it also went to the Dr. Rita Louise page, which I changed the name to the Dr. Rita Like page and whatever. So if you want to follow me on Facebook and see all like the weird stuff that I post, because I kind of share a lot of very funny things, right? In my opinion, very funny things, and some serious stuff, and, a variety of topics that come across my screen. It's Dr. Rita Louise Live. I know that some of you guys that hang out here have radio shows, or you're doing interviews, or you're at conferences, and you are, to a certain extent, welcome to post on there, because I really would like to have it be a sharing thing with everybody. So, it is an open forum, and so you can, I think, post on there. I'm pretty sure. And if not, somebody tell me. I can post, but it's my deal. Okay. And then if you're more of a YouTube person, please go to my YouTube page, Just Energy Radio on YouTube, and like and subscribe and turn that little alert bell on. So I was doing some research, and it says if you do the alert bell, it should notify you that the live is coming up. And so I just like discovered that this week because all of my projects are on hold. So I'm like doing other stuff. So yeah, so if you hit the alert bell, it should let you know when the next live stream is coming up. And then if you would like to become a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner, or if you would just like to learn more about who you are and how you tick, I would love to send you to my training program, which is at appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. That's appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. Okay. So we're shifting gears. Post your detailed question in the chat box. I'm going to say hi to everyone and then go back and answer any questions. So we have Blind Dog World Headquarters, which I finally figured out what that was. Hey, Blind Dog, and I'm assuming Liz is there too. Hey, and hey to Walter. And Veronica's here. Hey, Veronica. And we have Facebook users. So I'm assuming, and correct me if this is wrong, Facebook user, if that's Nina. Yvonne is here. Hey, Yvonne. Marco. Hey, Marco. And Miss Amy is here. Okay, so let me go back. Didn't see a whole bunch of questions, but it is question time, and we have a pretty good group of people in here. So, okay, let's see. So Veronica says brain food regarding the topic. and that she loves it. And assuming that's Nina, Facebook user, she's going to be back after dinner. Okay, and then Yvonne said hi. But let's see. What does she say? I feel mostly good because of the food I eat and the supplements I take. But see, that's really great that you are open to that. Now, I am going to kind of put it in on the little devil's advocate here. I know a bunch of people that take these giant handfuls of supplements, and I think that that's, I'm just not compliant in general. So I try to keep it to the minimum of what I need to take. Although now that I'm older, I've been taking more in a preventative way, and especially since COVID, I've been taking more, like vitamin C and zinc and vitamin D, because those are really good, antiviral, preventative. I don't want COVID again because I still don't have my taste buds back, kind of thing. And so, so if somebody is wanting to get onto a supplementation program that is kind of geared to what's going on with them, I would love to help them do that. Okay, Yvonne says naysayers are the worst, and yes, they are. All right, so Yvonne says again, Rita, you recently said you felt like I was about to explode in a good way, and I'm wondering if it is going to involve an old friend in showbiz or on my own. Well, this is kind of interesting, Yvonne. I wasn't sure if I would get much of a read on this, but this is what I'm getting. So I feel like, yes, the connection with the old friend is going to be very important, but I don't feel like the old friend is going to do any kind of hand holding at all. I feel like they might give you a couple of leads. I feel like they might let you name drop them. I feel like there's going to be like some little pieces that they're going to offer for you, and you can either take that stuff and run with it, or you can take that stuff and not do anything. If you run with it, that's going to go. If you don't do anything with it, then obviously, excuse me, nothing's going to happen. I do feel like the intervention of that person, it will help accelerate things a bit. Okay. So Amy says, hi, Dr. Rita, Eastern versus Western medicine, where Eastern pays health care to keep them well and doesn't pay when they get sick. Western don't have to pay for well care and pay doctors when sick. And that is very true, but I'm going to kind of put my little conspiratorial mind on that. They like waiting for you to get really sick, and then they can put you, on the prescription machine. And actually, I am going to use COVID as a great example because it was irritating the crap out of me. It's like people would go to the doctor and they would just send them home. It's like, well, you're just going to have to tough it out. Well, they didn't recommend, like using Vicks to, open up your sinuses, or eucalyptus oil, or taking vitamin C, or, one of the risk factors for or a comorbidity was weight. But they didn't suggest to anybody to maybe go on a diet or exercise. I mean, they don't recommend things that are going to make you healthy, because if you're healthy, then you're not going to want their prescriptions. And actually, I had gone, and I think I had mentioned I had gone for this stress test, and it was a two-parter. And the first part, you couldn't have any caffeine, or anything to eat, which the not eat part didn't bother me at all, but no caffeine, and the test was at 9 o'clock. I was just a little bit cranky when I got there. But halfway through, because they wanted, I don't even know why. Halfway through, they told me to go to the cafeteria, I could have caffeine, and that I should get something to eat. Well, I don't really eat before 11 o'clock, really ever. Maybe, my famous rice cakes and peanut butter, I might have that a little earlier. And and I was like, well, I don't really eat very early. And the nurse looked at me and said, well, but maybe you could go get a candy bar. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm in a freaking hospital and there's all these sick people here. And you're telling me that I should go get a candy bar and I'm getting a stress test. You should be telling me like I should get an herbal tea and, maybe some nuts or something. But a candy bar, that's our Western medicine, and I've heard, and I've never had the experience personally, that the food they serve you in the hospital is awful. It's like I'm there and I'm sick, and you're going to make me sicker by eating your food. Mm, 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 mm. They just don't want me in the hospital because I would be like, hey, can you bring me some crystals? Hey, well, what about this? Well, I don't want to take, I'm not going to take that medication. I don't want your toilet paper, your $10,000 toilet paper. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Catherine says, I got COVID 1 month ago. I am testing negative, but still feel extremely tired, headachy. Do you have a long COVID? Do you think I have long COVID, or this is a thing that takes time? I'm so tired of feeling crappy. So, Catherine, I ended up with long COVID, and the example I've been using is, so I live in a 2-story house and my washing machine is downstairs, so I would like strip the bed, go wash, the sheets, take the sheets upstairs, make the bed, and then lay on the bed because I was too tired to do anything else. And I would have to stop for 15 or 20 minutes and kind of regroup. You're on YouTube. So probably about a month ago, I did a show about COVID and about long COVID. And in the show notes, so on the description thing on YouTube, as well as Facebook, for that episode, I did actually post in the protocols, so what supplementation that you could take. I mean, I started on the detox protocol because it was months. I couldn't do anything for months. And I am just feeling really good. Still don't really have my taste back, which is kind of annoying, but I feel a whole lot better. But again, it was about a month ago, and I had it was like COVID prevention, if you've been exposed, and then if you have long COVID, and they were broken down, telling you what you should take for each instance. So that would be what I would really recommend. I was going to do it like get one bottle of everything and do it till all of my supplements were gone of that one round. And I decided to go ahead and get another round of bottles, which is taking me to about that 3-month mark, and that's probably where I'm going to cut off on that protocol. So that's what I would really recommend, is doing that. I mean, 1 month, if you want to get through it quick, I would do that protocol. How's that? You can try to wait it out, but it didn't clear for me. So, okay. So Veronica says, what supplements do you recommend for IBS? I have tried the usual probiotics, spore probiotics, eating adequate fiber, drinking water, psyllium, bleep, no help, yada, yada. And so with so IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. And so what I usually recommend, one is not necessarily taking the fiber, or being very careful what kind of fiber that you're taking, are things like slippery elm. I mean, I think the probiotic is very appropriate, but things that are anti-inflammatory, that, because the irritable bowel syndrome is, to me, an inflammatory disorder. And so addressing inflammation in the gut ought to be the number one thing. So turmeric, ginger, omega-3 oil. Um, sometimes IBS is actually caused that you don't have IBS, but you're having an allergic reaction to something. So that might be something that you monitor is, have you eaten something in the last day or two and now you're having IBS symptoms? The other thing would be, it can be very stress related, but again, there's usually I'm going to say a little aura around it, I'm going to say like 2 days, maybe 3 day window, where there might be the trigger and then actually being symptomatic. And Veronica, and I'm not saying this is you, but I also know a couple of people who were vaccinated. And I don't know, I mean, one of the people I knew had an issue before, but the other one did not have an issue. And they're having IBS issues, and it's not going away. But, they don't listen to me. So, it's not going away. So, okay. So Yvonne says, I take the minimum and I happen to love St. John's wort. I never really had much luck with St. John's wort. It's supposed to be like a relaxer, but different people's bodies need different things. One of the ones that I really like is, as far as like a relaxing, and it's not even really a relaxing supplement, is GABA, the amino acid GABA. So GABA is it's an amino acid, but it interferes with all right, brain fart, bad day. I'm even surprised that I'm even still talking and my computer hasn't blown up at this point in time. But if you're a person that your brain doesn't stop and it's just like going and going and going and going and going, and GABA might be something that would be good for you. So as an example, Nature's Sunshine, which is a brand, makes a product called GABA Plus. And so it is GABA, the amino acid, mixed with passion flower, which is kind of like a chamomile. So you get that little bit of relaxing effect. But I'm very susceptible to anything that like has a sleepy effect. So like a couple of glasses of chamomile tea and I'm like, but the passion flower doesn't do that to me. So I feel very comfortable in recommending that to people, and you can drive and go to work and not have to worry about secondary effects. And so I think St. John's wort is good depending on what's going on. But also I really like the GABA, and a lot of people that I know have the brain doesn't shut off thing, especially, and I really recommend it for people who can't get to sleep because they can't get their brain to turn off. And it doesn't make it so that your brain completely turns off, but it slows down the transmission of neurons in the brain. I don't know. There's a scientific explanation that I just can't really think of right in the moment. Okay. Okay, so Veronica says, want to try colostrum, do eat Greek yogurt. They're both kind of probiotic-y things. Depending on the brand of the Greek yogurt, it might have a lot of sugar in it. But probiotic alone is not going to stop the IBS. That's just my opinion on it. All right, so Yvonne says, thank you. And we have Kim in the house. Hi, Kim. I'm not sure if I recognize your name. So if you're new here, welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise. Okay. So Yvonne suggested because, they're both on Facebook or YouTube. Because some people are on YouTube and some people are on Facebook. And so there's not really communication across the two, and so they can't see each other's posts. So Veronica says you might want to find a good homeopath, and I'm just going to put in, a person that's some people are great with homeopathic remedies and other people, they do nothing. And so it is worth a try, but it's worth a try. And you have to be compliant, because a lot of time if you do homeopathics, they don't want you doing sugar and you can't smoke, and they got this whole list of stuff you're supposed to do. And I don't know how compliant I would end up being. Okay, so Amy wants to know about the nicotine patch protocol. So are you talking about like the regular nicotine patch? I'm not really sure. You know, at one point in time, and I don't remember, I was a Nature Sunshine distributor for a really long time, but they made a combination to quit smoking that was St. John's wort, and I want to say kudzu, or it was two supplements mixed together. And the St. John's wort helped you kind of keep your crap together, and the other supplement made it so that you didn't really desire the cigarette part. And they stopped making that blend. And so I tried doing it, and I bought like the two supplements, but it was kind of too much, you know, where their combination was like, I don't know, it was a better blend versus taking two full strength supplements. How's that? You know, so answer my question. I'm not really sure what you're talking about, Amy. So Veronica says, is it going to get you addicted to nicotine? I know about it, but I'm a bit skeptical. All right. Did I miss something here? All right. I'm a little lost here about this whole nicotine thing, so I'm just going to move on here. So Catherine, hey, Catherine says, so if I go look at the prior shows, I will find out what the protocol for long COVID is. Yes. Like I said, you know, and so all of the shows are in that, you know, in the live, so where you're watching it now. And I'm going to say it was about a month ago, you know, not all that long ago. And if you look at the description, like, you don't have to listen to the show, just look in the description and you will see it. And actually, hang on, let's just see if I can just find, you know, find it real quick. All right, everybody, bear with me, and hopefully I won't blow nothing up doing this. And of course, I'm not logged into the right account. Okay, I can't do that because I'm not logged into the right account. So yeah, just look through them. And again, you know, where it has the description, it has the protocol. So no, fine question. Okay. Yeah, L-glutamine, that's another really good one for gut health. So yeah. You know, but again, in my opinion, in what I've seen, there is usually some kind of a trigger that sets off the contractions from the IBS in the first place, because it's not like colitis. There's not necessarily irritation in the colon, you know, and the reason that someone with IBS, especially the IBS-D, the diarrhea kind, have issues with it is because the contractions are happening so early in the colon that it doesn't have time to like harden up as it's going through the rest of the colon. I'm just wondering if you're complaining about IBS with the C kind that has to do with constipation. I'm sure you really don't want to share that bit of information. So, so I'll just say this. So if the issue is, and why you're taking all that stuff is because of a certain level of constipation, things that you can do is to take magnesium every night. I usually tell people to start with like 250 to 400 milligrams of magnesium every night. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water, and especially to drink like a minimum of 12 to 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning when you get up. So before coffee, just chug down a glass of water. Vitamin C is really good to kind of keep things going and keep things moving. Um, and it's interesting. So since I've been doing this like COVID cleanse, well, vitamin C wasn't on their list, but I was taking it as more of a preventative, so I'm taking vitamin C every day and I'm taking magnesium because, again, it's a preventative for COVID related immune system stuff. And it's really kind of helped everything. So, okay. So Amy says nicotine patch for only 6 days. Okay, so Amy, I still am not really understanding. Is this in relationship to the IBS? I'm not understanding. Or to quit smoking? Not understanding. Not understanding. Okay. So Yvonne says also valerian. So one valerian smells awful. And that stuff knocks me out. So, yeah. And then she says, exercise very important for turning the brain off. Yoga too. I mean, anything. And we've talked a lot on this show about different things for being mindful. But many times, and I'm going to go back, many times people that have that overactive brain that can't make it stop have a hard time being mindful. And they have a hard time being able to use, the exercise and the yoga to get them to a mindful place because their brain just makes them crazy. So, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so Lucy says, began with water in the knee and walking became limited. Now knee is better, but I now have severe leg weakness. Been forcing myself to exercise for the past 3 months, but legs getting weaker. What I'm seeing, Lucy, is a little bit concerning to me. So I don't know if you have been going to the doctor. I was just looking to see if it was, kind of like a diabetes neuropathy thing going on, but I'm not getting that. So, and I can only express it in this way. When I look at you, there's like not a lot of energy. There's not a lot of chi going into the lower part of your body, and it's kind of starting at the hip flexors and going all the way down. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost as if, and you can post this below, like your legs are not attached or you don't feel connected to them. I mean, I feel they just have this very weird vibe to them. When I look at them, where blood flows, so does energy. Where energy flows, so does blood. And, so I don't know if there's a circulation thing going on. So that's something you just might want to get checked out. Oh. Oh, I see. Interesting. So thank you for explaining that. So Amy said for long COVID, 7 milligram patch was used for the study by Dr. Brian Artis for 6 days. Okay, so can you identify what kind of results he got? I have to tell you, and I'm going to be very real here, but he's not my favorite researcher. He comes up with stuff that no one else talks about. And I don't have an issue that no one else talks about it, but no one else talks about it that I really do trust and respect. The COVID protocol that is listed on the YouTube page is from Frontline Doctors. So if you can't find the YouTube thing, their website is like flccc.com, and the protocol is on there. And that was like Dr. McCullough, just people in the whole COVID world that if you're an alternative person like me, you would know and recognize. And not that Brian Artis is somebody that I don't know and recognize, but he's not part of that team. So might be worth trying. It's just a 7 milligram pack, so I should shut up because it might just work. And so if that's something that would work for you, then great. If not, then don't do it. All right, I'm shutting up. Try it. Okay. Okay. So Lucy said, can't figure out what is causing my legs not to be able to move. And Lucy, when I look at the generic kind of things that would be going on, I'm not seeing those. Like I said, it's like there's just not energy going to them. And it's just really strange, and sometimes, it's like I can see something going on, but I don't have a doctor word to tie to it. So if you haven't gone to the doctor, then you might want to go do that. It is a little concerning to me. I can tell you right now, it doesn't feel like a diabetes thing because I think it would present very differently, but it is concerning to me, and sometimes that's the best I can do. So Catherine, back to the COVID, flccc.com. So if you can't find it in the YouTube, that's the website. And it was under the tab was like vaccine injury or something. And so it's the same protocol, whether you've been jabbed or not jabbed, for dealing with the long COVID, but I think it was under vaccine injury, and I would post the link, but I can't, you can't see, I can't do it. I can't make it happen. So Lucy wants to know, is this normal maybe for an arthritis condition? I'm not feeling that, Lucy. I feel like there might be like a neurological piece going on, a circulatory piece going on. Arthritis tends to sit in the joints, and I'm not getting pain. That's the big thing. I'm not getting pain. I'm not getting inflammation, which are usually the biggest telltale. Your legs almost seem invisible to me. So, okay. So I love this. So Veronica says, so nicotine is recommended for long COVID by Dr. Brian Artis, FYI. Well, if nicotine got rid of long COVID, then I should have been cured a long time ago. So not feeling it again. Okay. He wears a patch himself. Well, maybe he's a former smoker. So Lucy wants to know, could it be neuropathy? And Lucy, I'm not getting that impression. No. And then she said, you're awesome. Thank you deeply. And Lucy, I wish I could give you something more, but there's something going on that's outside of my, there's what I see. And then there's the experience I've had where I'm able to take a doctor word and attach it to the visual. So I know what like neuropathy looks like in the body, and I know what arthritis looks like in the body, or how it would tend to present. And what I see going on with you is that's not what I'm seeing. And so it puts me into the, well, maybe you should go get it checked out category. So, and I'm assuming this is Nina, Facebook user. Could Lucy's problem be neurological? And I think it could. You know, I mean, I feel like there could be a neurological or a circulatory issue. You know, they kind of both run on very similar channels, energetically speaking. But I'm not getting that there's a pinched nerve, you know, and so if it was in one leg and not the other, it would lead me more to a neurological kind of idea, but it's not. Yeah. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. You know, I would be okay if we cut this a little short tonight. It's been a very, very long day for me. Okay, so Lucy said, you help me because I understand what you mean by no energy. Great, Lucy. I mean, because there's not. Right. And that's why I said that she needs to go see her doctor or whatever and get some further testing, because in the scope of this format, you know, there's something deeper going on that, you know, is outside my purview without doing a really deep assessment. Anyway, guys, it's almost time, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go pour myself a glass of wine and just chill. It's just, you know, and I have to tell you, it's like I was in a really bad mood when I started the show, but I'm like feeling a whole lot better now because I love doing this and I love hanging out with you and being able to, I don't know, hang out with you. And so I want to thank you for helping me kind of like get my groove back on. So thank you all. And so just don't forget, if you would like to schedule a private consultation with me, please go to my website, soulhealer.com, and just drop me a note and we'll get something set up. If you want to keep up with what's going on and see like my really bad memes that I share and just stuff, picture of my dog, the important things, you know, join my Facebook group, Dr. Rita Live on Facebook. That's Dr. Rita Live on Facebook. And the picture doesn't have like my bright smiling face that you're used to, but it has me actually being filmed for Gaia TV. So I'm like, lights, camera, action. Or if you are a YouTube person, please subscribe to my channel, Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Like it, subscribe it, and most importantly, hit that little bell so you get notified for when new episodes come up. And again, my training program, Applied Energetics Institute.com. All right, there's okay, thank you so much. So Amy, and I'm going to say these and I'm going to go. Thanks, Dr. Rita. The toughest part of the week is behind you. Yes, Amy, and I am taking off tomorrow because everything I have touched has turned to shit. And I am saying that out loud because it's just been like, don't touch anything. Monica says Rita got her groove back. And then Facebook user who's not Nina says, thanks, Doctor and Debbie. Okay. Anyway, so till next time, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.